Servus und grüß euch aus Spielberg. This way or something similar, you would be greeted once you reach the Red Bull Ring in Austria. Very welcome everyone on this Monday evening, a new week and a new Dragon Force race. This is race number 2 of season 7 and we are here for our next race in Austria, in Spielberg. The Red Bull Ring will be featured twice again in the real life, this world. This information we received just a few days ago. And this is tonight, the Austrian Grand Prix, not the Styrian. And we will see a 18 minutes qualifying followed by a 50% race. That should be something around 36 laps, I think, here in Spielberg. Strict corner cutting, that can be a topic. Corner cutting, likewise, to track limits here and there. Manual race start, full rules and flags. These are the assists we use. Medium traction control, manual gearbox, pit assists, ERS, fuel, all that is off. Here is the track. It's ruled very easy. Yes, and very short. 4.3 kilometers of length. That's just a little bit longer than half the length of Spa, to compare it as a comparison. And just 10 turns, I'm sorry. And this is our lobby for tonight. We will sadly not see a full qualifying. 16, maybe 17 drivers have ticked yes, but that's totally fine, that's totally okay. Let's have a short look who's in this. Ecos Hayden Rogers. Oh yeah, and he has already checked into the chat box. You are totally right, of course, with what you say, because this is one of the reasons I was a little bit late in starting my broadcast. I had a bit of trouble to get things correctly set up in my YouTube channel, and one of these things is that this is round 2 of 10, of course. Thank you for letting me know, and I'll just quickly edit it so that everything's correct. Yeah, and off we go. This is the first view of the Austrian track. Spielberg had numerous names already. It was the Red Bull Ring, or it's now the Red Bull Ring. It was the A1 Ring. It was the Austria Ring. So numerous names, and now, like so much in Austria, it's called after the Red Bull company of Didi Mateschitz. And it is embedded, you could say, in the Alps, up and down, a lot of up and down here. Although it's not the highest track, not the highest in altitude, because that is Mexico City with 2.2 kilometers of altitude. And here we are in the pit lane. It's a mixture of sun and cloudy, so definitely a dry session, so should not be rainy. Rain should not be a topic. I had one very awkward qualifying, I remember, here in Spielberg, because it was a short quali 2, and it literally started raining with the opening of the pit lane, and so everyone had exactly one hot lap in already drizzling wet conditions, and then the rest of the 15-16 minutes we were just sitting around and having a cup of coffee together. So that's what I remember from Spielberg qualifyings. Let's get in some information that we will need. First driver has already turned to the track. That was... yes, of course it was him. I was training his name. I'm still not sure if I got it right. Corentin, maybe? Something like that. And He just offered me to call him, what was it? Koro? Anyway. Yeah, Coco. I should call him Coco. Okay, I will find some way how to pronounce him in the Renault. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's by jeopardy that the Frenchman is sitting in the Renault car. Anyway, he has proven us that he does have some pace. He finished third in our season starter last week in Barcelona, and here we sit on board onto his shoulder for his first hot lap try. Turn 1 was good. You can easily exceed the track limits there. Skin Dog. Here he passed him. Breaking point 4, that's turn 3, actually turn 2, but it's called turn 3. And here's already the next DRS zone, so sector 3 and sector 1 are more or less one big DRS zones, just aborted from a few turns. This hanging turn 5 is very difficult as it goes downwards, downhills. And here the infield, another place where you can easily exceed track limits, but that was all fine for Corentin, for Coco. Looks pretty good, I would like to say. Penultimate turn and the last right-hander, and that's already it. Just barely over a minute, and he is 1 minute 4.0. That lap is not too bad. Let's see how long it will make him the pole setter. Next, the other first hot lap times should be incoming very soon. Yep, Peter is already behind him. Likewise, Ecos Hayden Rogers, he was faster than Corentin, and North Sea was so too. Kean Stevens likewise, so there's a bit of ups and downs, so a lot of times incoming. Pingu just 6,000ths of a tenth behind Kean Stevens, 6,000ths of a second, of course. That's half a glimpse, half the duration of a glimpse. Let's see who else is on hot lap. Jason has left, but he's still sitting in his garage, so I hope he will be able to return later. We see one driver. Let's stay with him maybe for a moment. Tekken. What is his name? Tekken Ture Ogre? Tekken Ture Ogre? I don't know. Anyway, Mr. Tekken in the Michael Schumacher helmet. He is the only driver who is trying to run on mediums, and in the last turn he invalidated the lap time. It wasn't that bad, 104 point something. That would have given him somewhere behind Corentin. So not bad, but not competitive either. Skin Dog and Jair, by the way, got their lap times deleted too. Let's have a look what our host is doing. That's the legendary Shippo. Shippo is a legend. Michael Shipley, his name. Skin Dog, meanwhile, has pushed into the pole position. Shippo, 16.1 seconds. The first sector for him in the Haas. First sector is actually not a sector where you can win a lot. You can rather lose a lap, but not win a lot of time in there. Sector 2 is the important one. That's where he is riding in here right now. Didn't catch the apex on turn 7. And what does the clock give for him? Last turn for him. Close to invalidating. Only 10th. I assumed right. Only 10th. He is the slowest of those boys who have managed to post a valid lap time. Our Tekken Ogre is still running. No, he's not. The red color on the minimap shows us that he has invalidated lap time again. So we sadly can or must ignore him for the moment. Skin Dog, I suppose, is on an in lap, so there's actually no one on a hot lap right now. Yes, he is coming back to the pits. Will mount fresh softs then. It's actually a fact that on the Red Bull Ring, the tire strategy is not such a big issue. So you can go through on a one stop, no matter if you go yellow to white, red to white, maybe even red to yellow. So that's not a big advantage if you start on yellows. And now we see Peter on a hot lap. Let's stay with him for a moment in one of the Williams. Oh, that was bad in turn 3. He was slow and then even exceeded track limits, so lap time not valid. Yeah, but you can see already by now that track limits definitely are something to watch here in Spielberg. So this will be a topic. There will be a lot of penalties. I just want to remind you of the virtual Grand Prix in January, where we saw the former real-life driver Vit Antonio Liuzzi getting disqualified because he had, what was it? What is the borderline of penalties you can have? I think 24 or 30 seconds or so. And he had so many penalty seconds that the game disqualified the former real-life F1 driver. Incredible. Anyway, we see Spence Hamilton, who has pushed up into P3, 70 thousandths behind Skin Dog. Jair got another lap deleted. Let's have a look what Slayer is doing. Where is he? There he is. Nothing he's doing. Invalid lap time. He's there at the end of sector 1. That means that he already got the lap time deleted in turn 1, I would like to suppose. Always very frustrating when you just start the hot lap and it's already for nothing. But the good thing about Austria is the lap is very short, so yeah, you do not lose that much of time. He's cruising back home, so still enough of time. 8.5 minutes left on such a short lap. You could maybe even get 2 hot laps posted in this time. And he stays out. Means he has enough of gasoline with him to go for another ride. Plus the fact that his softs, if he qualifies into the top 10 on this set, will have then already 4 or 5 laps on their shoulders. So he'll start with a bit more worn out tires then compared to the drivers around him. That is a little bit of disadvantage. And Spence Hamilton, new pole setter, 103.5, not bad. 4 thousandths ahead of Skin Dog. Wow, is that close. The first top 5 are within a tenth, you could say. Yep, and there's another track limits incident for Slayer. Minimap is red as his alpha. And this time he turns to his pit crew. Yeah, still 7 minutes left. Ooh, bit of unsafe release here from the Renault off Konata, maybe. Not his fault, of course. Fault of his pit crew. So, who could we watch now? Let's have a look at the other Renault, the Tekken man, the Tekken fighter. Didn't see the sector 1 time. No comparison yet, as he didn't have a hot lap yet. He will cautiously try to move over this lap to at least set a time. And then go for a hunt again a little bit later in the last stages of the qualifying. Yes, this time it was valid. And was it good? Yeah, 7th good. Half a second behind the new pole setter, FX Pingu. And now it's Jair. Wow, the times are melting. Pingu just pushing into P1 and just behind him, maybe even a bit of slipstream. Jair posting a super hot lap. First one to push the limits under the 1:03 mark. Jair even half a second faster than his teammate. And we've seen very, very close gaps thus far in this quali. And Jair now blasted everything. Just 2 minutes ago, or maybe 3, the top 5 were in 1/10. You remember me saying that? And now they are within 8/10. Just showcases how fast Jair's hot lap was. And one important fact I didn't call out yet, because Zondi is inactive tonight. Zondi is no one else but the reigning champion of the last season, reigning champion of season 6, and likewise the winner of our season opener. So he is at the moment the leader, 6 points ahead of Jair. And yeah, as Zondi is inactive tonight, this might be the evening to find out who is Zondi's main opponent in this season for the championship. So here, with a bit more than 4 minutes left, this is the start of the hot lap of Peter, and he had a big slide there in turn 1 that might already have been it for this hot lap. Maybe, yes, he is half a tenth behind his hot lap time from earlier. So with almost 4 minutes left, this is a bit of a bad timing for him. I could imagine that he'll return to the pits and abort it now, so that he still has one more hot lap shot. And while I was talking about Peter, we have seen Slayer pushing up and into P2, being 1 incredible thousandths faster than FX Pingu. And oh no, Peter came back to the pits. At least he tried that, and almost completely lost his Williams. He'll need a new nose, but he is still active. Whew. Adrenaline will be pumping in his neck now. We still have 3 drivers that did not set a time. That's Frenzy, Ballardin, and Mr. Sargent. There he is. This will be the only one hot lap try he can post, so let's maybe stay with him. Skin Dog just came off one hot lap, but did not improve. So let's have a look what the Sergeant is doing on his one and only hot lap try. He cannot be too aggressive. If he invalidates the lap time, he will be in last position then. So it would already be an improvement if he'll post a save time and then start in I don't know, somewhere between P5 to P10 maybe. Same goes, by the way, for Frenzy and Ballardin, who are still standing in their garage. I'm not sure what's going wrong there. Another one on a hot lap. Only one already on a hot lap is Nolsi. And Khair now. Pole setter Khair. So this one and only hot lap, safety kind of hot lap for Sargent is over now, and yep, right where I expected him, up into P5. That's it for him. He'll maximally start in 5th. What is Khair doing? Pole setter still found a little bit of time, improving himself by 40 thousandths in Sector 1. Is there still some time to find in Sector 2? No. He lost a 10th. So, yeah, his hot lap was so hot, almost impossible to improve. He's already slow. He already gave up on it. That is it for him. What else is going on? Here we are with Slayer. Let's have a look what Pingu is. Pingu is ahead of him. Let's stay with Pingu for a moment. He improved. Oh, no, he's out. He is out. Pingu is out. Nolsi out. Sargent out. Skin Dog out. Koranta out. Kian Stevens. Is he improving? Yeah, he is close to the end of his hot lap. Let's stay with the Alpha Tauri from Mr. Stevens. Last turn. Last turn for him. And he will improve. Yes, he will. P6 for him. The other Alpha Tauri right behind him, but no improvement. And Pingu aborted the hot lap. What is Slayer doing? Nothing big in the middle sector. Khair finished. Spencer Milton finished. Slayer, can he attack at least Spencer Milton? He's too slow for the pole, I would like to say. But can he attack? No, he cannot. 1/10 slower than before. Yeah, and that's already it. That is already it for our qualifying. Khair in the pole, congratulations to you. Spencer Milton then 2nd, and Slayer in P3. Not bad, but the gaps in the end were really big, so no one was even close to Khair, because on such a short track as Spielberg is, a big gap of 4/10 is already really big. So here is again our starting grid. Khair leads the way in the Racing Point, followed by Spencer Milton right next to him. In 3rd, then we will see Slayer, 4th Pingu, 5th Norsi, P6 for Kian Stevens, P7 for Sargent, 8 for Konata, P9 Skin Dog, 10th for Tekken Tour Ogre, P11 Peter, 12 Hayden Rogers, 13 Mr. Shipley, 14th Mr. Muffin, and no time set for P15 Varenzi and P16 Ballardin. And in the background chat, I have already seen one big word, and there it is. The word I was referring to was wet, and have a look how wet it is. It's not even, you couldn't even say wet. It is pouring rain. It's soaked. Wow. So this is full wet weather, monsoon tire, how they were called in earlier times. This could be a perfect chaos setup. Let's see how things will go. Peter, the first one who has already finished his setup. The drivers have half a minute of time to put in the tire strategy for the race. That will be rather easy at the moment. And some minor changes to their setup. And the drivers have the weather information before the qualifying, and that could be a topic, that could be the reason why Khair was so damn fast and so uncatchable quick in the quali. Maybe Jair went into the session with a dry setup, and that would mean that he might have a big problem in the ongoing 36 laps now. Here we are already in lap 0 of 36, our parade lap. I suppose everyone will start on, yes, everyone does start on the blue monsoon tire. Jair is already almost losing his car, so hard he is warming them up. So the tire strategy is not a topic to talk about today. Let's see if it maybe will dry out over the time. In Spielberg, every kind of weather is possible. Maybe even snow. Funny fact, but Spielberg is indirectly my home race. I'm German. Germany does not have a home race, but I am Bavarian, so rather close to Austria. We are rather the same mentality. I would like to say I'm more Austrian than really German. And so when watching the weather, I can tell you that there has been snow in the last few weeks in the Alps. Some, rather not so good weather, if you can say so, here in this spring in middle of Europe. And the Alps still had snow lately. I don't think that we will see snow. I don't know if snow could be part of the game anyway. It looks soaked. It looks totally wet. Let's see if it will stay that way or how long it will stay this kind of wet. So every driver in the starting box, the 5 red lights, and then it's lights out in Austria. Second race of the season. Rather good start for both the top runners, Jair and Spencer Milton. And then in the background, let's have a look what's going on here in turn 1. Cannot see it. Oh, there is a Haas running wide in the background. But the rest went rather smoothly, I would like to say. No bigger issues except this one Haas that was skin dog, I suppose, as he's in last position. And here in turn 3, everything went quite good too. Looked very smoothly. Almost no position changes. Pingu now ahead, more or less ahead. Wheel to wheel here with North Sea. This is an awkward spot here. In the wet, very slippery. Have a look how dark it is. So vision will be a big problem because of the lighting and of course of the spray water from ahead. Tire strategy presented by the Amazon Web Services. We will have to find out about that. Let's see if we will see a one-stop full wet race or if it will get a bit drier and someone will turn to Inters sooner or later. Very cautiously the Pingu is. Don't be... Can easily ignore the table on the left hand side as always in lap 2. That's one confusing story. That's a bit poor from Codemasters that the whole season long they did not cope with that bug. We see the first driver in the pits. That's Schippo. So there was some kind of trouble for someone. Some tag. Did not see some debris flying off. But obviously Schippo had front wing damage, otherwise there would have not been a reason for him to come in. There will not be DRS, of course. DRS is not available in wet conditions. So Jair already 2.5 seconds away from Spencer Milton. Okay, so my theory that Jair was qualifying on a dry setup is not correct. He is running away from Spencer so much that you could rather say that he was just the one who was able to deal the best in dry conditions on his wet setup. Yeah, meanwhile, our Brazilian driver Roberto Ballardin has checked into the chat box. Nemturo, I suppose that means that he doesn't understand anything, but still, welcome to you, Mr. Brazilian man. Roberto Ballardin, he is racing at the moment in, where is he? P13. So, impressive start for Jair. 3.5 seconds almost he has pulled out of Spencer Milton. And he is leading the way here in lap 4, leading Jair from Spencer Milton, from Slayer, from North Sea and Penguin 5th. Ian Stevens and Sargent. This is a little bit of a you can hardly say fighting group, because every driver is just trying to do his best to stay on the racing line. So you can hardly attack anyone anywhere if the other driver does not commit a big mistake. So let's see how much of action we will have here in this race. As things stand now, it's very static. I don't know if you can say so in this moment, but at least there is not very much of action going on. It's just it feels like the big waiting for the track to dry out, maybe for someone to commit a mistake, possibly, and everyone just doing the best they can to avoid a mistake and to stay on the track. We have seen so many times getting deleted in the qualifying, and now we are in lap 6 and we have not seen one track limits penalty yet, so that tells you that the drivers really are not pushing too hard, not really chasing the times, at least not as intensely as they were in the quali. But from the camera view, you could assume that the rain has lifted a little bit, not from the TV pod because of the spray water, but from the TV broadcast vision here, you could assume so. Did not stop raining, but maybe eased off a little bit. While we see Sargent struggling a little bit, taking a wider lane here in the intermediate sector. Kair is posting one fast lap after the next. So after 6 laps, he has pulled out 5.5 seconds of gap to Spencer already. And here we are with Corentin. Still training. I hope it's correct now. Yeah, sadly I cannot tell you, depict you pretty much a lot right now. I am still rather new to the Dragon Force Racing League, so this is just my second regular season race, and so I cannot put in some historics, some old stories from earlier in the history books, and the season is just very young, so just second race. I'm doing hard to find any interesting or big topics now to fill this moment of waiting. We've seen now 2 penalties being handed out. That was Hayden Rogers and our Tekken fighter. And you can now visibly see a racing line, so that is maybe a little bit of proof that it is slightly drying. Corentin having a bit of trouble here. We saw him running wide a few turns. Sargent ahead of him did so too, so this is maybe the first indicator of tire degradation already. For the rain tires, it's hard to say when they dag and when not. We see the first 2 pit stops. This is Sargent and Pingu. Could they maybe be the first to stop on Inters? Yes, they do. From blue to green, and the other... Oh no, that was Sargent. Yes, that was Sargent. The Alfa Romeo. So now let's have a look at their sector times. We'll see Pingu being 4.7 seconds behind of Frenzy, in case he'll make this gap drop by a lot now in this or maybe the next 2 or 3 laps. Then this is a big indicator that the Inter time has come. The first 3/10 are already off the clock. So let's stay with him here for a moment. Here we are on board with him. You can visibly see now that the rain has eased off. Racing line is visible. The rain drops, the incoming raindrops getting less, yeah, and a lot of pit stops now. Busy pit lane. Everyone will stop for Inters now. Let's have a look where Frenzy will be then in the end, if the undercut paid off. Sorry, not Frenzy, Pingu, of course. Pingu is now 8th, just 2 drivers ahead, who switched to the green tire already. Yeah, moin Ammo Green. Welcome to the stream. If you say moin, interesting fact, because just by yesterday I had my first ever native language, my first ever German broadcast. Not sure if you were part of it, as you greet me in a German way. Was very interesting, was very funny, was a very interesting race too for the Fair Play Racing League. And a photo finish, absolute photo finish, race decision by 31 thousandths of a tenth. Jair now has a fresh set of inters mounted. New hot, a fast lap of the race from Sargent, 1:15 point something. Oh, and here we see the first real battle of the race. This is Pingu versus Kian Stevens. You could hear the wheels spin on acceleration out of turn 3. Kian looks like he is faster, but can't find a way around the Penguin. In the medium pace turns, the dirty air effect is always really big, and if it's rainy, even more, of course. And Hayden Rogers, likewise to Ballardine, are still racing on the wets. Not sure what they are intending with it. They definitely lose a lot of time now. Behind them, Spencer Milton and Slayer have already closed the gap to them. Here we are. This is the Mercedes of Spencer Milton. And he is sitting already in the gearbox of Ballardine now, taking wheel to wheel and overtaking him. Yes, he did. Better grip level for him. Now only Ecos Hayden Rogers ahead of him, who is still running on wets, on full wets. I'm not so sure what their strategy might be, or what would be the advantage of staying out on wets. Still, Ballardine now coming in and changing that topic. Let's see how far he'll drop behind. Should be very, very many places that he'll lose. Corentin now, new fastest lap. Jair already 8.6 seconds ahead. That will be even more than as soon as Hayden Rogers will pit for Inter sooner or later. We see some penalties now being handed out. That is an indicator for the fact that some drivers try to pick up the pace, try to be a bit more aggressive on lap times. We've seen one short yellow. Interesting that it was just once. We've seen a whole wet race and just once yellow. That's a showcase of the quality we are racing in this league. And Hayden stays out. Hayden still running on his wets. As I said, I am not really sure what he's intending to do. The only thing he gets done with it is seizing the gap for Jair, as he is holding up Spencer Milton, and now he got ahead of him. Hayden was fighting hard, but in the end, no chance to defend against Milton, and now Slayer too. And behind is already North Sea, sitting on the Williams rear wing, and now wheel to wheel, better traction for the Inters. And still wheel to wheel, they leave each other some breathing space, and North Sea now pushed through. So, and now as everything is settled in the top 4 actually, Jair has a gap of monstrously big 11.8 seconds. 12 seconds soon to be. Let's have a short look about the penalties that are handed out. A bunch of +3s for Hayden Rogers, this guy here. Sergeant, Tekken, and Mr. Muffin. Oh, and there was some trouble for Hayden Rogers. He went off the track through the grass. He obviously did not touch the barrier there, so he's still in one piece, his Williams. But that again costed him a lot of times, so I'm not sure why he is actively ruining his races here. Let's stay with him for a moment. He has to come in now. I mean, he's already dropped down half the field. He lost monstrously much time. And with staying out, he'll not be able to repair it further. But no, he is still running on his wet tire. Interesting. Next position to drop incoming. That will be Corentin. There it is. Yes. Amo Green, vielen Dank. Macht Spaß wie immer. Yeah, just a little greeting for the German chatbox poster Amo Green. And I said that it's funny as always to be broadcasting here. I think it's not really funny what's happening for Hayden. Does he really intend to go through until he can stop for slicks? Oh no, now he's out. He's not out. He is running. He kept the engine running. He is still able to dig out of the gravel pit here. Now he's turning to the pits. Finally. Here we are with Michael Shipley, our host. And Hayden Rogers, midway mark of the race. We have the first man, that's DNF's. Hayden Rogers has parked his car in his garage, our reserve driver. I can understand this race has not been a lot of fun for him. I would like to assume it's always very sad if you commit the time and then the only thing you do is having a bad race. But okay, I am sure he'll recover from it. He'll learn from the mistakes he does and come back stronger. Anyway, I hope that he will be with us. I hope he will still watch his mates continuing the race here tonight. Maybe if he's in the chat box, maybe if he's listening to me, he could answer me the fact or the thought behind why he was intending to run so long on the wets. Yeah, anyway, let's focus on what's important. Here we see Jair in the racing point leading the way. 12.5 seconds. He is absolutely controlling things here. No little mistake from him yet thus far. Very, very good and strong race performance for him. But it's just half the race done, so just 50% over. He needs to keep it up for just as long as he already did it. Second then Spencer Milton, 13 seconds now behind Jair and Nossi in third, Slayer fourth, and the Pingu in fifth, being chased by Kian Stevens here in what would be a DRS zone. Pingu sliding a bit on acceleration. The next would be DRS zone. Kian Steven looks faster. It seems he could go faster than Pingu, but first he needs to find a way around him. Let's stay with these two boys for a bit. We see both struggling on acceleration a little bit, but it's rather okay. I would like to know how much of diff those two boys have activated now, what their differential setup is right now. I suppose it's rather high. I don't know if is this visual in the telemetry. Let's have a look into. I actually do not use it a lot, and no, we only see the ERS amounts, no diff, no brake balance. Okay. So Kian Stevens is the only one who is really chasing the driver ahead, the only one who is in a potential striking distance. We only see Peter being inside the, in theory, DRS window, but no DRS of course activated in wet conditions. And the second one who is more or less close is Ballardin, close or relatively close to Skin Dog. And if Pingu holds up Kian Stevens a little bit longer, a few more laps, there might be Sargent incoming and making this a threesome bubble. And Hayden, thanks for clearing things up. He has checked into our chat box again. And so it was Jeff, the in-game race mechanic, telling you wrong information about weather changes. That was obviously the reason why you stayed out longer than everyone else on wets. Yep, I understand, but I think I have never seen a setup or a scene in the race where you could switch from wets directly to slicks. So there has always been at least a few laps where you needed to go on inters before turning to slicks. And that more or less happened again here tonight. And everyone is still running on the inters, so it's still not dry enough for slicks. And Hayden, if I may say so, if you are still there, I suppose you wouldn't have made it so long on the wets. But okay, you always learn to it, you always add up to your knowledge. And yeah, so you'll be a little bit smarter than in the next online race when it rains. And there is the next pit stop incoming. We see Pingu into the pit lane. Is it? Oh, it is dry enough for slicks. Here we go. Pingu is the first one who dares to go on slicks, on softs. He'll finish the race. That is possible. 13 laps on softs is possible here in Spielberg Schippo. The next one. And Peter. Peter, the third man in, who dares to finish the race on mediums. But yes, mediums, not softs, mediums. He dares to go on slick tire, but he does not dare to finish the race on softs. Schippo letting him through, our host for tonight, being lapped now. Has Schippo just been lapped by Peter? Oh my goodness. That means Shipley is one lap behind from the driver ahead. Yeah, wow. Interesting, but that's something that happens only on such kind of short tracks like Spielberg. Next pit stops, Kian Stevens and Corentin. The Frenchie yellows, fits his car color. Kian Stevens will finish on softs. That would be that will be interesting. That will be the deciding fact then in the last few laps then, if the softs can still be fast enough. In the end, we've seen Corentin checking out a little bit of grass there. Grass is slippery, don't run there. Yeah, that will be the big topic. We see two drivers who run on mediums now. And we see a VSC, full course yellow. What happened there? Something happened, didn't see it, didn't catch it, but obviously someone went off the track, but not hard enough to DNF. Everyone who is close to the pit lane entry will pit now. And that was Nolsey and Spencer Milton. Jair did not. Jair is still running on his inters. He needs to stop now. He needs to pit in the next possible moment at the end of this lap. Let's see. Oh yeah, you can visibly see on the table how his gap is melting. He lost over a second in just 3 turns now. And the next second is off the gap now. And again a second. So he's losing multiple seconds of time. Ooh. He almost missed the pit lane entry as it seemed. Jair, the last one. Yes, the last one to shake off the inters. He did not commit a single mistake here in this race. But maybe his slick tire pit stop was a little bit too late. Yeah, okay. He lost a lot of ground. But yeah, he's still 8.5 seconds ahead of Spencer Milton. So that was maybe a little bit of mistake, turning to the pit so late, but it's still everything fine. He's still leading. 7.8 seconds now his gap on Spencer Milton, plus a penalty for Spencer. So everything is still running in his favor. Let's have a look at the gap now, because
Spencer Milton came closer a lot now. Not only because Jair stopping later, but it looks like on the soft tire Spencer Milton can run a little bit faster, maybe. 7.3 seconds now, the gap, still 9.5 laps remaining. Jair just needs to keep this gap more or less stable. Even if he loses another 1, 2, 3 seconds, that's still fine for him. He just needs to have Spencer Milton out of the DRS window of 1 second. And he's still 7 seconds away, so everything's more or less safe and fine for Jair at the moment. Second, then Spencer Milton, and in third is Nolsi. Good race for him. In fourth, Slayer, and Sargent silently crawling up into fifth. Silent but good races for Nolsi, Slayer, and Sargent. And in these trickery, tragedy conditions, it's already a good race if you can say that the drivers did not commit any kind of mistakes. And Pingu down to 7. So for him goes maybe a little bit the opposite. He's now chasing Kian Stevens. Pingu plus 3 seconds penalty here. And now as soon as it's dry, it's raining penalties. In the early stages it was raining water, now it's raining penalty flags. But at least now he's been granted DRS and he can chase and attack Kian Stevens, now DRS equipped into the inside lane. Braking late. Kian Stevens wanted to cut back inside, but he couldn't. He was being pushed outside. But Pingu, fair maneuver, returning the position to Kian Stevens. I'm not sure if he was forced to by the game because the game said it was an illegal overtake, or if he just did so because he's a gentleman. Anyway, doesn't matter. He did well, and Spencer Milton did not well. Spencer Milton! There he is in the grass. Does he have a damaged front wing? Yes, he does. A lot of damage on his right-hand side front wing, and he now needs to run a full lap on the damaged Mercedes as he was crashing right next to the pit lane. And that will ruin his race. He'll drop a lot of positions. He can be... he will be lucky if he might stay inside the points. We'll see about that in around 1.5 minutes. And that gives Nolsi and Slayer a potential podium position. Jair now leading by 9.8 seconds, so gap increased due to Milton's mistake. Here he is into the pits. Let's stay with him for a moment and let's see where he'll be on track position then in the end. Fresh nose, fresh red tires for number 38. And now he is already down to 10th. But Peter looks far away, far enough that Milton might stay ahead of the Williams. No, he is not. Wheel to Peter. Better lane now for Spencer. Better tire for Spencer too. And then... he took a lot of curb there, but He's still running ahead of Peter. Maybe the counter attack now. But on long term, I suppose Spencer Milton should be fast enough on the fresh red tire to pull away and stay ahead to get at least 1 point granted. Yeah, and while we were watching Spencer Milton limiting the damage to his race, we see Pingu being close to Kian Stevens still or again. Five laps still remaining for Pingu to settle this battle. The battle is for 2 additional points. Kian Stevens in 5th would be granted 10 points. Pingu would be given 8 if things stay like they are at the moment. As we close in to the final stages, let's have a look at the penalty situation. Sargent with 9 seconds, that will be a problem for him. Here, the next attack for Pingu. This time it will work in turn 3. Who will get the S again? Yes, the PWT is split again, and now he is finally through. After a bunch of DRS zones in the Penguins' favor, he finally made it ahead. So now again, let's have a look at the penalties. 9 seconds for Sargent, that will be a problem. He will be ranked behind Pingu and probably behind Stevens too. +6 for Tekken. No penalty for Karanta. And another handful of +3s for the following drivers: Ballardine, Muffin, Frenzy. Multiple +3 for Spencer Milton and Peter. And Peter has an additional +5. So I think we can, or we should, stay with this battle here. This is probably the most entertainment for the last few laps. Stevens and Pingu are level on penalty seconds, so if one of them doesn't commit a mistake, they have to settle this on the track. There is no replay option, so I cannot show you in the end what happened. So we have to get it in live. Woohoo! Kian Stevens almost lost his Alpha Tauri. The top 3, the podium, does not have a penalty in their backpack, so that shows us what is necessary, what you need to bring if you want to be on the podium in the Dragon Force Racing League. And now Kian Stevens DRS backed up. Oh, no attack. Pingu closed the door in the last possible moment. Karanta not having a penalty, he will be ranked up by at least 1 position, at least over Tekken. And we are in the penultimate lap for these 2 boys, Kian Stevens or FX Pingu, who will be 5th in the end. What will Stevens do? Will he try to attack him as soon as he can or as late as he can, so that Pingu will not have a DRS zone left to counter it then in the last lap maybe? Pingu already on defending here. Now he turns back to the racing line. In the next turns, they cannot attack. Stevens just tries to stay close through the dirty air here. Nossi now in the last lap, he got a penalty into his account. Ooh, and now his battle is over. Now the battle is over. Key and Stevens pushing like hell, and in the end lost his car in the penultimate turn, and now he's down to 7th even. Needs to stay within 3 seconds of Tekken, and he'll be ranked up ahead of him again due to penalties. So he will finish in 6th, Pingu then 5th, as long as he doesn't throw it away. And we need to jump to Khair. There he is, already in the last lap. Congratulations, absolutely deserved victory for Mr. Khair. Really, really great race. Kept a cool head to any time. No mistake, no little error in a difficult race. Congratulations to Khair. Second will be the Ferrari of Nossi, and in third, there he is over the checkered flag. That is Mr. Slayer. Fourth then will be Sargent, but not very long. Just for 4.7 seconds he will be fourth, and now he'll drop. He'll drop until only P5. He can thank Key and Stevens that he's fifth, because he would have been dropping down further if Stevens didn't commit this mistake in the last lap. Corentin being ranked up to 6 because he didn't have a penalty. Yeah, and we'll finish the session here on board with Sargent. Yeah, congratulations. Driver of the day is called Mr. Ballardin, the Brazilian driver. Here we are with our winner's dance of Khair and the Austrian trophy, followed by the Austrian champagne shower. And this is the final result after penalties and after a monsoon-like rain. Khair has won it ahead of Nossi and Slayer. Fourth then goes to Pingu. Fifth, Sargent. 6 is Corentin. 7th, Tekken, Tuer, Ogre. P8, Kian Stevens. 9th, Ballardin. 10th, the last point being given to Spencer Milton after a good race and one big mistake. 11th, Mr. Muffin. 12th, Frenzy. 13 is Peter. 14, Skindog. 15, the legendary Shippo, Michael Shipley. Respect to you to pull it through. You were out of the race actually very, very early, but still did not leave. You stayed with us. Thanks for that. And last, DNF'd. The only driver who DNF'd in a rainy race. That speaks for the quality of the race, of the league. That was Hayden Rogers. So, dear Formula 1 fans, dear Dragon Force fans, thanks for being with us. The Dragon Force Racing League returns next Monday, of course, 9 p.m. UK time. 8 p.m. UK time, 9 p.m. Continental. Then we will head towards Japan for a race in Suzuka, always a very special track to be there too. The Dragon Force Racing League is working on a new hut, on a unique HUD and telemetry display. So let's see how or if that will go. If I will still be the streamer, then that is up for grabs right now. Maybe we will see us again next week, maybe we will not. Anyway, I wish you a very good start of your week. Have a successful week, stay safe in these times, and keep racing.